Nonetheless, but it's a choice I have to make in order to attain this highest level of academic qualification. So there's a little bit about myself. So my key role in this forum would be to moderate the session, which is basically to facilitate this session to make sure that the panel discussion is lively, engaging, relevant, and worthwhile for all the participants who are joining in this morning. So basically, for administrative side of things, for this Webex, participants can post questions in the chat module, right? And I'll appreciate if you can mute your audio so that we have less disturbances as we have this ongoing panel discussion. But every now and then, if there's any questions that you would like to post, please unmute and fire away any burning questions that you would like to ask the panelists. And for myself, every now and then, I will check and where appropriate, post any relevant questions for the panelists to respond or to talk on. Okay, so without further ado, allow me to introduce the panelists. We are fortunate to have 4 key panelists in joining this session in this forum. Firstly, a person who does not need much introduction from me, Professor Dr. I.R. Sha'ri Yusof. He's a professor of quality engineering and management in UTM. Based on the profile I've read from the website is that he has supervised many research projects both at PhD and master level in topics relating to quality management, robust quality engineering, sustainability, lean manufacturing, and industrial engineering. And I suppose it goes without saying that he has published more than 100 over papers in national and international journals and conference. Very much a prolific and learned professor in his field indeed. Anything else that you want to chip in, Prof, in terms of introducing yourself? Tak ada. Okay, secondly, our next panelist is TS Dr. Liza Rizki. Her background is in materials engineering. She was selected to pursue a PhD under Proton collaboration program with UTM in 2012. Has been working with Proton for 18 years. Am I right, Dr. Liza? Yeah, she graduated her PhD in 2019. And I think her perspective will be very interesting as a female student juggling multiple roles. There could be many tips and insights that can share in this forum itself. So I look forward to hearing from you, Dr. Liza. Our third panelist is Dr. Koh Jung Hung, graduated in 2019 with a PhD in gas engineering. Currently is working as a project manager at Kejuruteraan Muafakat Sdn Bhd. Anything else you want to add, Dr. Koh? Okay. And the last but not least, we have also Dr. Sangaran. Echo sound there. Dr. Sritharan graduated in 2019 with a PhD in chemical engineering for UTM, currently holding a post as head of discipline production in Petronas Chemical Olefins. Am I right, Dr. Sri?
Yes, yeah.
Anything else want to add? Okay. That's just a brief introduction of the panelists joining in this forum itself. So I think without further ado, let me kick off this forum by posing some questions, and then as we go along, whenever there's any relevant questions from the audience that you want to pose to the panelists, please do so. Or if you're shy, you can post it on the chat module itself. Yeah, right. Okay. Let me give this honor to Professor Sha'ri, in terms of enlightening us with regards to what are the different PhD or doctorate programs that is available at UTM. I think the main reason when I'm asking this is basically is to enlighten all of us. We have got diverse group of doctorate students pursuing these doctorate programs, and I think it would be good if Prof could enlighten us on that matter. And I think despite all the different type of programs we are undergoing, similar kind of challenges, ups and downs in undergoing this doctorate program. Prof, would you like to share in terms of what are the available different PhD programs that we have in UTM, and then maybe you can share if there's any transformative research that's currently ongoing in the university to excite all of us. I saw in the latest university rankings, UTM climb up in terms of the rankings, right? There was published results in terms of university rankings. UTM went up a few steps, but still UM is still the top lah. I think they are in the 59th position.
Okay, thank you, Puan Kartina. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. Inshallah. Dr. Siti Zaliha, I think she's around here, the PD for SPS. Dr. Siti Sophia, also the academic manager SPS. SPS for inviting me to share little experience actually that I have to all of you.
Oh, you be modest, Prof.
Regarding, I don't. Allah bagi ilmu kita terlalu sikit. Okay. I like to. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can talk about PhD. There's a lot of things, and of course, I have to give time to others to also, because this is a forum to Malaysian universities lah, basically, kan, because we are trying to work within the context of Malaysian universities. So the development of PhD has grown from purely PhD by research. Normally, we only have PhD by research. That means you don't have a course program. So we have actually moved on to PhD generic research based. We've gone to engineering doctorate. Doctorate offered in BATC, formerly BATC or Razak faculty, and also the Center for what do you call construction management in civil engineering, and also CASE, the Center for Advanced Software Engineering, engineering doctorate. So we moved from pure research to industry-focused research. So the reason why is which has been done is only theoretical. Just put it on the shelf and it's not going to be useful for practitioners. Or so that's the the development. Action research. We want more action research. Theoretical also important, fundamental, trying to characterize, fundamental knowledge. But at the same time, looking at the level of our country, we must try to solve a lot of industrial problems, a lot of, our own situational, in our country. So the development of PhD that's what I've seen, okay? That means it has moved from just purely research, but more towards industry-based and also developmental. Trying to create new products, new systems. It's really useful for the industry. That's why I was partly involved in the PhD. I think Dr. Liza part of the program of My Brain to develop, to come out to produce 12,000 PhD holders, Dr. Kartina. 12,000 PhD holders within 15 years. That's very ambitious of our country.
Oh, I'm not a doctor yet, Prof. Belum lagi.
Betul. Tak apa. Jangan risau. Dia tu bila cakap doktor tu, you one day you will
InsyaAllah. Amin.
So the direction of the country is actually, and we are part of it lah. UTM embark on the program of, we are the leader of PhD industry in the whole of the country. Actually,
I see.
That is what we are proud of lah, UTM. And of course, at the same time, the development of professional doctorates. For example, DBA, Doctor in Business Administration. I think Dr. Siti banyak tahu lah, I mean, he's in the faculty kan. And also, I do not know whether there is a doctor in education. Okay, so those professional doctorates also are very is popular in in advanced countries. So I see that also that is moving to that direction, a specialized doctorate in certain management fields, for example, kan, and also doctorate in professionals like probably architecture ke, ataupun accountancy ke. So I think it is very, after 20 years, 20 over years completing on my PhD, I see today ramai PhD holder ramai. Hari ni ramai.
Okay.
And we are very, I mean, we have been successful in trying to, create the interest among Malaysians to go through the process of when you get PhD pun, it's not you jadi expert pun. I mean, it's just part of the learning process of understanding the research process, right? From identifying the problem, you need to be critical of the literature. You need to understand and put into perspective of, many issues. Then you go through the process of trying to answer the questions. Get the data analysis method, the data collection method, then drive to your conclusion. So it teaches us that thinking. So
the critical and analytical thinking side of things, yeah?
Correct. The PhD candidate must look the whole perspective first. Rather than, tengok ini apa. No, don't go to, look at the whole process and see how you're going to go through it. Don't keep pressure problem ni, apa is the problem, tak habis harping on, you have to look at the whole and move on like that. Okay, so coming back to UTM, I think we are, in fact, kalau kat foreign university, professor ni dia tak supervise sampai 20 student, tak ada.
Wow.
Unique kat Malaysia.
On average, how many does a professor, doctor, a supervise the students, ideally, in terms of ratio?
There is no maximum 8 actually, and you can supervise.
So they have a quality, yeah.
There are people, for example, I have at one point in time supervised 15 students, which is gila lah, crazy lah. There are my friends who actually supervise like 20 students, but they can manage. It's okay, you can manage. It is how you manage your time and how you, juggle your other activities. But in foreign countries, probably, like in Japan, they have like 2 or 3 PhD students. But anyway, it's our context lah. Kita boleh buat. Dan kita perlu buat. Nak cepat, kita perlu buat. Dan boleh buat. Tak ada masalah.
Okay.
Kena kerja lebih lah. Tu je.
And juggling other multiple activities and roles as well, right? Publication, research and whatnot.
For example, Puan Kartina, you have a full-time job and you're doing a PhD at the same time, and you have a family. You need to balance all these 3 things and achieve your goals. So I really admire and I really respect those who actually work and do PhD at the same time. You can do it. That means, subhanallah, really, like what? When I went through only, my family, I have no, don't worry about my job. 100% of PhD. So, you guys are all really, Superman, Superwoman. In a sense, you can, do a PhD and at the same time, you really balance between your life and your study. Okay.
Right.
Probably that one I just throw some ideas for us to think. If you have other questions that probably I can,
Sure. Thank you, Prof.
Suka yang banyak question lah, rather than saya cakap lah, tak ni lah.
Indeed. So basically, doing this PhD is incredibly quite a daunting task lah. I use the word daunting. And there's a lot of issues that one would face because everyone has their own journey, right? So there'd be issues, their ups and downs.
Most daunting task. You want to know what's the most daunting task?
What is that?
Writing.
writing part of it.
The most daunting task in any PhD. Okay,
True,
I think
true.
I'll put that. Okay.
Yeah. So many issues that we can face as we go through this journey, right? Like health issues, and I always think that it can be quite a lonely journey itself, right? If you take from that perspective, unless you do something about it, stress. There could be conflicts with your
It's a very
supervisor.
lonely journey. It's a very lonely journey.
Yes,
Lonely. You know, when I was doing my PhD, I was talking to myself only.
exactly. I think all of us are faced with that.
I cannot be, telling what my problems are, and when I start to discuss with other people, they do not understand what my problem is, what my research problem are. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because when you wake up in the morning, the first thing in the morning, you will think about that. When you sleep, also you will think about that. In fact, everything that you do, you keep on thinking about your research, right? I don't know about the rest, but I do that all the time. And then macam Prof sebut tadi is the work-life balance as well. And along the way, it's important that the motivation side of things also needs to be looked into. So I would like to pose this to the other panelists as well in terms of what are some of the challenges you face when doing your PhD degree, and how did you deal with it? Maybe we can start off with Dr. Koh first. Oh, I think Dr. Koh's mic has set his
Can you hear me?
working. Yeah, okay. Yes, Dr. Koh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, before I start, I need to thank Dr. Sophie for inviting me for this discussion. Also, Puan Kartina, and not forgetting Prof. Sha'ri. I think so. I attended some of your talk when Prof. Sri or Dr. Astuti was organizing. It was a very fruitful talk, and I learned a lot from there. I think so. If you look at questions, there's actually some questions posted to us. I think so. These questions are very similar to all those who are actually doing this PhD industry, especially PhD industry. Because you look at conventional PhD, those of you who did a conventional, you're either a research student or you're being paid stipend to do your PhD, and that's what you do. You don't work. You don't have project to handle. As what Prof. Sha'ri said, those who are doing it, you are actually Superman and Superwoman. I'm not praising myself. Actually, it's a very difficult, very daunting task. Very difficult task. I remembered my first 1 year, first year of my journey. The company had a project in Sabah, so I have to fly off to Sabah. It's like taking a bus. Every weekend, you just take a flight to Sabah, have a meeting, come back the next day. And your supervisor indeed wants to see you on that particular day, you have to postpone it. My advice to students is have a good relationship with your supervisors. Your supervisors means your industrial and also your main supervisor in UTM. Indeed, I have a very, very good relationship with a very understanding supervisor. Supervisor is the main thing.
Indeed.
He may not know what you do in depth, but he is the one who is going to guide you, okay, to publish, to write your chapters, properly. You have a lot of corrections. Indeed, my supervisors, my industrial supervisor, Dr. Devaraj, and my main supervisor, Prof. Zainal, was seconded to UMS to start a new oil and gas program in UMS. Yeah, indeed, Sabah don't have a oil and gas, so he was pinched from UTM to start the whole program on a degree in oil and gas. So, in fact, these supervisors are the one that really helped me. Indeed, I'm a very lucky man because I don't have any conflict with them. They were very understanding. And then publication-wise, my industrial supervisor also published. I think so. He published one chapter of book with Prof. Ahmad Fauzi, or TNC. Right. Indeed, he taught me in my first degree when he came back from UK. Prof. Fauzi taught me one subject. I remember him very, very well. And then my supervisor was he was publishing quite a lot of journals lah. So in that it helped. Daunting. How daunting? When you're doing a PhD, you are alone. You are alone in your world with your supervisors. Nobody know what you're doing. Your colleagues do not know what you're doing. Your wife and children do not know what you're doing. No appreciation at all. Okay. You have a lot of hurdles. In fact, you want to graduate on time for industrial PhD, it's a very, very hard task. So I would like to praise one of our colleagues, Dr. Fadila from IR, Engineer Dr. Hajah Fadila from TNB. She graduated on time, I think so, last year, and got the Chancellor's Award. Perhaps I think so the panel may would like to invite her to give you some good points. What I'm giving you are pitfalls not to take when doing an industrial PhD.
So how do you keep yourself sane, Dr. Koh?
Well, keep yourself sane. So I'm in the limit of going to insane.
Okay.
So how?
Maybe you can share some of the tips and insight with the rest of the participants.
You have on a Sunday, I think so you have some quality time with your children, you know. For those who are actually in, you have Instagram, you have Facebook account. I don't have a Facebook account, and I don't have an Instagram. For those young guys, I'm already in my 50s. For those who are young, 30s, you spend less time on that. Probably you spend less time, and then you spend more time with your family and the children. That's how you have to study on your own, but you have to come back. You have a family to take care of you. As long you are a father and you are your father and you are also the husband. So you have multiple roles. You are in my company. I have to take care of projects. So people look on me, to have things running. So you have subcontractors to take care. You have payments issue. So try to, what shall I say? I've done it, so it's easy for me to say. For you who are doing the journey, I think so. I know what you are thinking now. When you sleep, when you go to the toilet, you're talking to your husband. You don't think you have something in your mind to do with your writing or chapter 3. How is my research methodology doing? You're part of it in your brain. I mean, whatever you do, you go to construction site, you're having a meeting. 70%, maybe 70% of your attention is given in the meeting. 30% of it is thinking, hey, how am I going to do I have a correction to make. 2 weeks time. How am I going to do that? That is normal, okay? It's nothing that, oh, am I going insane? I mean, I'm going nuts. Those are the things that you need to overcome. Take it easy, take it easy. I would like to also share with you. I don't know whether this is true or not, or maybe Prof. Sha'ri have to tell me. To all of you who are taking PhD, not only industrial PhD, once you this is just what I heard. I mean, I heard from a lot of people. You have proposal before you do anything. You have proposal to be submitted, right? Yep. So they have proposal to be submitted, and you submit the proposal. When a supervisor accept your proposal, when the faculty even accept your proposal, 50% of your PhD is already done. Okay? 50% of it, you are completed 50%. Now you have to do another 50%, which is reading, a lot of reading, writing up, a lot of correction, a lot of data collection. Okay. In my case, data collection is a big issue. I'm doing an experiment. So for those who didn't question, and also you have a lot of problem because you have the what you call it. Once you send out 1,000 questionnaire, how many are coming back? You are not enough data to do your whatever SPSS, to your statistics, right? For me, I'm doing an experiment, and then what I found is, once you want to do an experiment, you have to read up a lot, especially if you're doing an international ISO standard experiment. You need to find something, a variable which is fixed. In my case, a fixed variable is the temperature and the humidity of the room. In that case, I need to find what we call a cyclomatic chamber. Cyclomatic chambers are chambers that have constant temperature and humidity where equipment can be tested. So in Malaysia, there are only a couple, maybe one in UNISIM layer, one in Sirim, and one or two in the industry. Okay, so it's a very difficult task to do experiment, to ask people help to do your experiment. Okay, shall I continue, or you want to have maybe Dr. Steve or
Maybe
Dr. Liza?
I ask the Dr.
Because I'm long-winded, I'm old, so I'm long-winded.
But thank you for your insight.
Okay.
It's very insightful indeed. What I can hear from you is that, you know, obviously it's a daunting task itself, but the act of doing this, pursuing this PhD really helps the person, the individual, to sharpen their critical thinking, their analytical thinking, conceptual thinking, and you know, how do you structure your research in such a way that it becomes something which is valuable and knowledgeable, right? Maybe Dr. Liza, would you like to share some of your perspective? And Dr. Liza is very interesting. She started off her PhD in 2012, I think. It's a collaboration between Proton and UTM program, sometime in 2012, and she completed in 2019. So that intrigues me. It shows that that's quite a journey that she has gone through in completing this in 7 years. Dr. Liza, would you like to share some of your insights here?
Okay, thank you, Kartina, and good morning and assalamualaikum to all.
Assalamualaikum.
Yeah, I had a long, very, very long journey. It's actually starting from 2011. Proton and UTM has started the collaboration, and I was selected to be part of the team. They call it PMS, Proton Critical Mass Scheme. So they selected a few numbers of people to maintain or to retain the technical expertise within the company. So
Okay.
it started 2011, and maybe our registration get started 2012, and then graduated after 7 years, a very, very long journey. I think Prof. Sha'ri also knew me for long student who not graduated. And my supervisor, Dr. Astuti, was very patient with me. She is the strength of this the whole journey. If she cannot bear with me, definitely she has failed me at every semesters, because throughout the journey, I get pregnant, I go to heart, and then busy with projects in Proton, so I take some defer of semesters, and my progress was very, very slow, because I have to work as normal as other people at work, and then I have to find my own time, which I don't have the time to have my own time to study or to precisely see what should I do for this PhD. So let it go, register every semesters. When Dr. Astuti asked me to submit something, I did what she asked me to do. She asked me to write a paper, so I just do as her request. But it's a very tough time that I cannot even spare even 1 hour to sit down and focus to my PhD. But luckily, the topic of my PhD is the same that I juggle around every day at work. I'm involved in material engineering in Proton, and my topic is also related to material engineering. It's just that I don't have this sweet time to sit and to write it properly. I have done all the experiment. I have set up a huge facilities in Proton related to the PhD project. But as Prof. Sha'ri said just now, writing is the toughest part. I have completed the project, the experiment for 2 years after registration, the PhD. Everything was done, all the data that I have, but I cannot write it. I don't know, I don't have time, and that is the challenges that I have, and have to juggle with families. At home, I did not do anything. I did not open my laptop at home, so I have kids, small kids. I have to teach them. I have to send them to tuition, Kumon, and everything. But at the end of the journey, after the for many years, I decided to after 12 o'clock midnight until 3 a.m. in the morning, I will do some writing.
What was your actual turning point in terms of making that concerted effort to start writing then? Was it because you've been harassed by Dr. Asitika, or your this collaboration program is going to come to an end that really push you to the edge and say that, oh, I have to start writing, otherwise I'll be in big trouble?
Yeah, it's actually, I I get nervous at and suddenly the program, the PCMS, the Proton program, I think because our mind has issued some letter of we are finishing program to Proton, to the company. So our HR calls back and says, okay, this is the remaining numbers that still active in the UTM system. So they said to us, are we going to complete it or we want to drop it because the payment from the government to the university was already ended. So from that point of time, I said, oh, I should complete it. So
That was your wake-up call then.
that is the wake-up call, and I start keep seeing Dr. Astuti every month and every 2 months. That is the turning point that I write every night 12 o'clock until 3 a.m. Then I must sleep at 3 a.m. and wake up again 6 a.m. and go to work as a normal. So nobody knows that at night I'm sacrificing, I have burned the midnight oil to do the writing. So in daytime, I just go to work as normal with no sleeping during lunch, no resting or anything, just a normal. But at night, I have to sacrifice the time, and everybody have sleep, so I just only have that time. That makes me complete. At the end of the day, I have submitted for one copy for before the Viva. So, and Dr. Astiti also keep on tracking on me. If I want to go this semester, this is the date before the Senate meeting, this is the date before submission. So she keep on tracking me on the timeline that I should meet. So I work towards the timeline and also sacrificing my time at night, maybe my rest time. So that is the turning point, or else I will not complete it all. And actually, Proton, the candidate were so many during the earlier stage of registration, and Alhamdulillah, my colleague Encik Nur Hisham has also completed his Viva last week. So in total, Proton now have 6 doctorate produced by UTM. Thank you to Prof Sha'ri and the whole team that started this program, or else we are not what we have today.
Alhamdulillah. Well done. Congratulations. Yeah, one of them. You managed to weather through those challenges, right? And what I can see is that being a female student has got its added challenges as well, because we are juggling.
Women, 6 of them. So I'm the only lady.
The only lady. Wow. Kudos to you, Dr. Liza. Well done, well done. I take inspiration from you as well, because I'm currently going through that journey itself. And but for me, I took that hard decision to take a career break because I couldn't juggle. Otherwise, I go insane. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, it's a choice. You have to see whether you're able to do that or not. Yeah. Dr. Shri, any perspective from your side?
Okay. Good morning to all. So I hope you can hear me clearly.
Very clear, loud and clear, sir.
All right. Okay. Okay. For me, like always, I'll be thinking like how to get motivated and be in the line to complete the PhD, because the motivation will drag you until you complete the PhD. I think I started in PhD at 2012 actually.
Okay.
I think first 2 years I was like, I'm not sure what I'm doing. Even the writing up, because I jumped from degree direct to PhD. I didn't go through the master.
I see.
So on write up a thesis, how to write up, I'm not expert on that. But first 2 years, like I'm totally blur. But I can say lucky, because I think that time after 2014, something like that, Prof Sri, he handled this PhD industries students. He created a network and he called for a meeting. I used to attend his talks, and sometimes if I have really demotivated, I will call him and say, I'll tell him my issues, because not everything I am able to talk to my supervisor. My supervisor is in Johor. I was in Terengganu. It's quite hard to meet him. and sometimes I'll go to KL just to meet Prof. Sri. So I get a lot of motivations, and because I can able to get into the networks, and I do call the cliques, some of my cliques who doing the PhDs industry where I met them there. So I get their contact numbers. I always call them if I have some doubts, and even until the end when I'm going to submit my thesis, I did also call Dr. Liza, how she did it and what hurdles she faced, so that I don't have to face the same thing.
Okay.
So I always believe that if you really started the career of PhD, you have to be always in the circle with all these people. So you always get motivated and you know what they have faced before.
Right.
You don't do the same mistake. So I think that's the best things that you can do right now.
So basically, don't isolate yourself. Find your circle of friends who's going through a similar journey itself. Have that discussion. Get in touch, rather than feeling you have been alone in doing this on your own, right? That was saying, isn't it, Dr. Sri?
Yeah, if you say like it's a daunting task. We think I know a PhD for each people will be a different topic, but the basis of PhD will be the same. I think for PhD industry, all of us facing the same issues. Maybe in part of supervisor or in part of writing a thesis, viva. So we all face the same thing. So I think if we are discussing among ourselves, create more networks among ourselves, I think we can solve it, and more people can complete their PhD.
Right. Okay. So that's we have heard from the perspective of the ex-PhD students, right? Prof. Sha'ri, what about from your perspective in terms if I were to flip the coin, right, from the academic side of things and facing with so many students undergoing this PhD, what would be your thought on that, right? And I even have a question here from the chat room whereby as what we have heard from the panelists is that when it comes to writing, it's always very challenging, and there's always no right time to start writing. You just have to start somewhere, and then you cannot have this mindset that you want to have a perfect write-up and whatnot, but it's the continuous writing of it. So maybe Prof. Sha'ri, if you can share some tips in terms of what you see the students are undergoing this PhD, and one of the critical tasks there is about speeding up the writing side of things.
Okay, thank you, Puan Kartina. Writing, that's why I said writing is the most daunting task. There are lecturers who actually, didn't complete because of not able to submit, because not writing, not completing the writing, not able to submit. I had one industrial PhD student who actually submitted on the last day of submission for the Senate punya. So after 6 years, you submit on just because I reminded him that if you don't finish your writing and submit, you won't get your PhD. And this guy submitted and he got his PhD. So that's why my advice is writing from the first day that you start PhD. Those out there, my advice is you cannot say you don't have time, you cannot say you're busy. No one forced you to do PhD, number one.
Okay.
Okay, you decided it's your choice. Despite, that's why there's a work-life balance that you need to like Dr. Liza mentioned, if she could have done that, earlier, she could have already submitted his thesis earlier, because he has to burn the midnight oil. So if you start early burning the midnight oil, you will be able to write a lot of things. But in order to write, you need to read.
Right.
So engineers that I experienced, because I was also an engineer. I used to work in Proton, Puan Kartina.
Okay, all right.
I used to work for Proton. So engineers, they don't, they're very simple. Procedure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Result 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They don't have that ability to articulate.
See.
Correct. especially engineers. I mean, in social science, it's okay. If you know that writing is going to be your obstacle, sharpen that skill early in the process. If you sharpen that skill early in the process, you'll be able to, reach a stage in which, okay, now I'm comfortable with writing. So once you start draft, it's okay. Just I ask my student, give me chapter 1. The first draft is totally, I cannot understand.
But you didn't throw it into the rubbish bin, yeah?
No, it's okay. I'll just give my comments. You need to define this. You need to explain
Sure.
a little bit on this. So that when he start writing or he or she start writing, then he knows where to improve. Then, that process is going to end up being able to submit the thesis. Okay. No, not used to academic, writing, not starting early. So these are the things that, I advise all of you, start early. There was a question on how to solve problem of selecting a topic for PhD. These are frequent questions being asked, even until today. People ask me, okay, discuss, where's the gap? He asking me the gap. You find the gap. How you find the gap? You read a lot. If you read a lot and you start to, for example, literature review, very simple literature review. Compare, contrast, summarize. Then put in your views, put in your opinions against, other opinions. And come up with your own logical explanation. Very easy.
You make it sound easy, yeah?
I make it sound easy because, you guys make it complicated. You are not focusing and trying to decipher the, benda yang senang kita tarik lah. Jangan ambil benda yang susah, tarik benda yang senang.
What you say is that the ability to see the forest from the trees, is it?
Exactly. You read the whole bunch of 30 pages paper. If you have the skill, you can read the introduction, the conclusion, and this is related to my methodology. I'm going to use this and this part 1 of the methodology. So you look the whole. Don't you read until you reach a block. You termenung dah.
Okay.
You don't retract back. So reading is crucial. It's for for every what do you call industrial PhD or PhD candidate. If you cannot do that, then there's a problem. But of course, another issue is industrial PhD. Your problem is in the industry. You must find literature that matches your industrial PhD problem. If you don't find literature that match with your industrial PhD problem, then the examiner will say, you're just solving, a project. You're doing a project. No, it's got nothing to do with the advancement of practical knowledge or advancement of, innovation. Okay? So that's very important. That's why you need to read a lot. You need to read and sharpen your reading skills, sharpen your writing skills. Then you're into it, inshallah.
Yeah, there's no two way about that, isn't it? Definitely. Okay, to the panelists, I'm quite interested to hear from your perspective in terms of, after completing this PhD degree, right? Do you see what are some of the benefits you observe after completing, obtaining your PhD degree now? Because you've gone through that phase of your life, right? And you have this highest level qualification, and you're back into industry. What is it that you see that you can take away from your previous experience of doing this PhD into your workplace now? So that all of us can be motivated, and we look forward towards that as well.
Yeah, Puan Kartina. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Before I go on to your question, I just need to add on what Prof. Sha'ri said. You all engineers, you are doing industrial PhD, especially engineers. The biggest problem is to write like an academic. You write as an engineer, you're writing technical papers. That was the first again. My supervisor also were engineers. Multiple of them were engineers, so they are still engineers. So the first thing they comment is because you are too long in industry. So once you write your paper, it looks like a technical paper. It doesn't look like
very true. Very true. Yeah.
That is the first comment, the most important thing. The second problem with regards to industrial PhD, I think so. This is true for all universities. You have no novelty because you are solving an industrial problem, right? Well, from the first, I think so. We actually attend two adik wajib courses. One is research methodology. One is environmental ethics. That's the first thing you need to do in the first semester. Get rid of finish all your adik wajib courses before you continue doing writing or researching. So the first thing, I went to this research methodology workshop in JB. Dr. Go, Associate Professor Go. Hey, Ko, can you let me know what's your research question is? So once I given the title, he said, where's your novelty? There's no novelty in your work. I think that's what we face industrial PhD, because we are solving industrial problem. What have you contributed to the body of knowledge?
Yes.
You're not contributing to every time you go, even in my Viva session. Exam, the industrial examiner gave me a very good result. The external examiner from Unimas gave me a very good result, and the internal examiner from UTM gave me hell. And you know what he said? Reading all this throughout the 3 hours of the Viva, where's the novelty? What is the novelty? What do you contribute? People have done this research overseas. So it's rather hard for industrial PhD students to convince, especially, I'm not saying that those lectures are not exposed to industry, they are bad, but most of them, like Prof. Sha'ri, have been industry and then you turn to academia. But those who are from academic and in academic for many years, they don't see what's their contribution. So you need to convince, by hook or by crook, you need to convince. Okay, that answer that I hope I add on a little bit to what Prof. Sha'ri was saying. For engineers especially, do not write technical papers. You write academic papers. You have to learn how to write. If you send your draft supervisors, you have to have a lot of draft. Before even you publish, you go to conference, supervisors will help you to polish up your paper before it can be published, because we are 20 years in the business. You're writing technical papers, you're writing post-mortem, you go to do inspection, then you write a post-mortem. Number 1, number 2, you must connect. No connectivity is, what my supervisor told me, that you need to write your thesis in order that common people, when you read, they understand what you are writing.
Right. Any layman is able to understand what you're writing. Yeah.
Board of engineers or institute engineers, where everybody is an engineer. You're writing a paper so that common people, when they pick out your thesis, they read, they understand what you're writing. Okay. That's the most important part. If I want to add on, okay. The second question, is what benefit of doing a PhD after you have been successfully completed a PhD? I think so. This is the first time people address me as a Dr. Ko.
So you have the new honorific then.
My customers still call me Ko. No problem with that. The biggest benefit is, of course, you have a prenomial in front of your name. But in Malaysia, we tend to take the name quite, we are proud of it, of course.
Yeah.
That is not a part of it. A part of it is when you finish your PhD, you know that you know something, but you also don't know a lot of things. You know only the field. What about other fields? What about law? Okay. What about humanity? Okay. You are expert in your field. You are very expert in that sense. You actually can talk to your peers. You can talk to people from industrialized countries on the subject that you have already done. Maybe you are doing corrosion. Liza is doing corrosion. I'm doing refrigerant. What I do in refrigerant, I'm actually proud also to say that some of my publications was picked up by European EC, European Commission. to be in their white paper. Some of your publication people pick up, you publish, you pick up by people from South Africa, we pick up for, then what you're doing is relevant. It's actually relevant. People pick it up, and when you finish it, you will say that I'm on par with actually what people are researching overseas, whether it's industrialized country, whether it's in India or China. You speak the same language. You're speaking the same language because you have gone through thoroughly on your subject. You're expert in your subject. When you attend conference, organized, let's say you attend a conference organized by Department of Environment with World Bank on issues of Kigali Agreement, the Montreal Protocol, actually can raise questions in the conference, and you can intellectually have a discourse or a discussion with the people. Then you know where you stand, because those people listen to you, and they try to tackle your questions. Once they tackle your question, you know that you're asking the correct questions. And I'm not saying that I'm the expert in the field, but at least you're talking, hey, this is good, I introduce this is a new refrigerant, it's a non-ozone depletion, it's very low global warming potential, it's good for the environment, and I can know what actually is it. You tell me the number of what is in the refrigerant. I can just say, oh, this is no good. Why is it no good? Why did it okay? You have that knowledge, because once you finish your 4 years or 5 years or 3 years or 7 years, you have in-depth knowledge in that particular subject. But as you know, you have in-depth knowledge in that subject, but you also don't know a lot of things. So what my advice is, once you finish your PhD, you'll be a more humble person. You'll be more humble. You'll be more humble when you first got your first degree. You'll be more humble when you finish your master's, or you'll be more humble when you have your professional engineer. You're more humble. You knew that. I knew a little bit of thing. Okay, this is diverse. What do you know? You know only a little bit. So you'll be more gentler. You'll be more humbler, and that's about it, lah. Okay.
Thank you.
Apart from the title, to me, a title is not important. I'm not in the academia, so you wish to call me Koh, it's all right. I won't get angry. Okay. Industry, you meet with a lot of people. When you're in academia, properly, yes, you have to address them properly as professors, associate professors. But to me, the title is not important. To me, the knowledge is important. You know that you can carry the knowledge wherever you go. You have money, you may go bankrupt one day. You have knowledge, you bring it all the way to the end of your life. That's the sense worth.
It's that continuous learning mindset which is important, isn't it? At the end of the day, right? Especially so in the current day now here, we really need to continuously make ourselves relevant by learning new things, upskill, reskill ourselves, right? Because otherwise we'll be left behind. What about you, Dr. Sri? What do you see some of the benefits that you attain after completing your PhD? And Dr. Liza as well.
Okay, I agree with Koh. When after getting the PhD, everybody started to call you doctor. Initially, I feel very weird, because when your boss or your managers call you doctor, you feel like a bit weird. And then even when the VP of Petronas came in, they introduced me to them as a doctor. And everybody really you will earn the respect.
Do you feel there's a high expectations in terms of whereby they look up to you for answers more now?
Yes, of course. There will be
because
always
you are deemed to be more knowledgeable with the fact that you have already obtained this doctorate title.
Yeah, and I actually, just for your info, I started my career as a technician there, and I grew up doing my diploma degree part-time, and then now with my PhD. So when people introduce me to management and they expect me to have more knowledge on my field, so now the only thing I feel after I getting my PhD, every stage of PhD, like your proposal, why you are writing a thesis, I learned. This it's built my character actually.
Okay.
This when you are doing a troubleshooting, you follow your SOP only, plan SOP or within your plan to try to troubleshoot. But now, if there's any issue, the first thing I'll go is to do my literature review. I try to get any papers that if written on the issues and get the data and present. So that is the way that I feel like I learn when I'm doing the PhD. So it's actually built me, and it's not only a cert, actually it's built your character once you complete your PhD.
Okay. Dr. Liza?
I do agree with Sri and also Dr. Koh. I also had the same experience. People start calling me um, and also I have graduated from and a lot of things have been we like present to the university representing the talks, so many final meeting and others. But the one thing that I want to add, what Sri and also Dr. Koh has said, I feel proud to represent the company in many events. Even recently, I went to China. So when we had meeting there, when I also being introduced as Dr. Liza, the more cooperation that we had, we can gain more data, we can discuss further. Because I do think they see it as a kind of respect and recognition, but it's also an advantage to the company. So in the perspective of company, because this program is also collaboration of Proton and UTM, this is also benefit to the company. I do wish that I can contribute more to the company through Proton so that we'll lift up the brand name of Proton. So
the image of the organization.
Image of the Proton and even any other companies that you're representing like Petronas. So you are being a good image of the company, your position, you are the subject matter experts, and maybe we did everything. I'll just know a little topic of our PhD, but with the knowledge, with the experience, we can explore more information. We know where to find this information. We know how to analyze the numbers. I do teach my engineers, this is how you look at these numbers. It's not you giving me the numbers, but you have to analyze numbers, what you can have from the numbers. So I'm sharing the knowledge that I have about the journey of PhD and also the benefit I would like on to be proud having a person to have doctorate under the program and with the knowledge that we can inspire the engineers so that everyone be experts in their area. So when they go to the meeting, they can convey their ideas, their presentation with much more confidence. So we have more recognize and definitely benefit everyone that your proposal is accepted. The technology that you want to put into the vehicle, for example, is also you can bring it to the management. So I think it's more we can contribute better and the best for the company.
Okay. What intrigues me is that I wonder, right, in all of your research, right, you have come up with a problem, you have solved the problem, and you come up with I'm sure there's quite a number of recommendations to solve the issue. So I wonder whether the output of the research, has it been plowed back to your workplace or not? Have you actually implemented it back to your workplace or not? I wonder. Dr. Koh, Dr. Liza, Dr. Sri?
On my case is yes, I'm the research work that I did is actually for Proton and for Malaysia. I designed a test version test for Malaysia market. So even though we have cars from China, from others, we will test the car according to our the Malaysia
Standards, I see.
So when the counterpart from GE, for example, argue about why it's like this, why it's like this, what is the rate of this, because I've gone through many of studies, so I can answer them better. They are confident with the answer that we have given to them. So back to the company to have both data from testing conducted, for example, for any other region. we can also share the knowledge that we have in our Malaysia. So it's to both parties, and I guess is a good contribution of industry.
Okay. Well done. Kudos. And I'm sure Proton benefited a lot from the research that you have conducted as well. Dr. Koh?
There's a lot of other research too.
Yeah, and there's also possibly future continuous plans in terms of how to build on from your previous research you have done, isn't it, Dr. Liza? Dr. Koh? Did you make use of your research results there into your workplace?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The results not at the moment. Not at the moment, but there are still some importers of this refrigerant that are trying to introduce their product into the market, which I think so is also very costly. Because actually what they are importing like from the States, from Australia and China are actually what we produce in our backyard. We actually oil and gas producing countries, and because we are having a sweet crude. Sweet crude means our co-products are what we call it, basically very clean, very low sulfuric content, very low humidity content.
Right.
So my research is on flammable refrigerant. So when you talk about flammable refrigerant, people are, there are so many forum attended. People are very, very scared, talking about, hey, how can you put flammable refrigerant into an air conditioning unit? You combust, and people will die using it. So it's actually it's a new thing. Even in Europe, they are actually progressing from normal hydrofluorocarbon to hydrocarbon. When we hydrocarbon, they have a safe method of doing it. They have standards to cover it. In Malaysia, so last year only they introduced this standard, very new standard to cover use of hydrocarbon refrigerant. They are so-called importers of this hydrocarbon trying to introduce that in the market, but I don't think so. They are ready for it yet.
Okay, so
it's a safety issue.
Safety issue. So more research and tests needs to be conducted on that before it can be implemented. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Shri?
Okay. My research mostly on the dynamic simulation, which I converted to the training simulator for my technicians. So basically, we are using that right now. And through the Petronas Training Institute, they also receive, they invite the people from overseas, like Middle East chemical plants, and they also are coming right now. I think last year or 2 years back, they just came and they also use the simulations training to train their people. So it is right now. It's like they are using in a few places.
Okay. All right. There's a question being posed here in terms of, I think all of us used to be students, right? There's always a challenge of trying to get attention from busy supervisor, right? Because they are juggling multiple things, right? They have to teach, they have to supervise other students as well, and they have to do their writings, and apart from doing their administrative managerial tasks as well. So what would be some of the good tips that can be shared in terms of getting the attention from a busy supervisor? Prof. Sha'ri, ada apa-apa daripada from your side, from the academic side of things? And then maybe we can ask the panelists as well.
Busy supervisors.
Yeah, extremely busy supervisor from the sound of it.
Extremely busy supervisors. You have to WhatsApp him, you have to email him, you have to call, you have to disturb him.
So basically don't give up, is it?
You don't give up. You are, seeking the attention of the other party, right? You should, however busy he is, of course, with with some politeness, with some nice way of getting the attention. Okay, so I think the students must keep on pushing.
Persevere, ya. Jangan don't give up. Must persevere and be resilient.
The supervisors that you need that what do you call please, can you read my chapter 1 draft? Have you finished reading my, you just, highlight that to the supervisor. If he get angry, you buat dah tahu je lah. Because yang rugi you, bukan supervisor tu. Okay. True. I like to, answer, what you should expect after your PhD, getting a DR kan.
Yes.
One thing that you must recognize, once you get a PhD, you're a doctor, you are now possibly invited as examiners.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
I never thought of that.
So you must be aware that a PhD holder will be able to confer another PhD holder. And to keep to the standards is very crucial. That's why you go through a very rigorous examination process. That's why you have tough examiners, but you are unlucky you have a very tough internal examiner, Koh. My PhD examiner was the chief editor for the TQM and Business Excellence Journal in UK. So I had a very tough question. The first question that he asked me was, are you going to change the philosophy of total quality management? I was shocked with that question.
That's very deep.
And I managed to actually answer and convince him that I'm not trying to change the philosophy of TQM. I'm trying to find ways of adopting that into small businesses. I'm going to not use the big TQM large company approach. So when I managed to convince, itu dia terus dapat PhD je. Satu soalan je that convince the chief editor of that journal that you deserve it. So you have to be careful, because all you guys are going to become future supervisors, industrial supervisors. Okay, so that's why you need to recognize that, and of course you need to keep on lifelong learning, because once PhD is a training to become a researcher. After that, macam Liza lah, Dr. Liza, you do more research with China. I'm very happy to hear that, because the whole idea of industrial PhD is for you to do more research, more collaboration, and more characterizing and understanding problems in the real world, and using the knowledge of PhD processes, critical thinking, understanding the context, designing a good methodology, very scientific. You can become a developed country like US, Europe, Japan. That's the whole idea, so that we have a pool of industrial researchers who have the ability to not just take things macam kat Malaysia ni lah. You see a lot of things which are, kadang kita pelik juga kan, buat benda yang tak ada analisis, buat benda yang tak ada judgement, tak ada proper ni. So those are I'm very critical. Even the whole nation punya policy, I'm very critical. You follow my FB, when people say I'm political, no, because of the PhD training, I think this is not right. I read a lot about even economic things, all the scandals. I've read, and I know people cannot tipu me about all these things, because once you read and you understand and you critically analyze, nobody can tipu you already.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, it's all about the evidence, the data that will help in terms of putting your thoughts in perspective, right?
And critically analyze the extent literature, understand what people are trying to solve and improve. That should be the bigger goal. My supervisor told me when I was doing my PhD.
That was in University of Birmingham.
Yes, Birmingham, way back in 1997-96. She told me, Sha'ri, you don't have to prove anything. When you complete your PhD, You know, don't become, oh, after PhD, I want to become Nobel Prize winner. I'm to invent it. No, no need, no need. PhD is for you to learn. Okay, if you want to prove yourself after PhD, whatever you want to become, go and, you know, go for your dreams. So after PhD, go and kejar your dreams. You want to become a prominent, you know, scientist, go. You want to become a prominent, market analyst, go. So that should be the, you know, the bigger picture lah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Prof, for your advice. I always ask this question to myself, you know, especially when you have gone through certain phase of your life, right? And this particular question always pop up in my head, like, you know, if for this particular for this forum itself, I would like to pose this question: is that if you could turn back time, what would you have done differently in completing your PhD degree? So my esteemed panelists, maybe you can chip in, as well as Prof. Sha'ri. You also have gone through the journey itself, and now you're a true blue academician, right? So if you have given an opportunity to turn back time, what would you have done differently? Maybe one of you would like to start off, Dr. Koh? I picked on Dr. Koh since Prof. Sha'ri just finished his talking. Just two things. What would you have done differently? Dua perkara saja. Or if you have not, you have no two, maybe just need one that you can share with the rest of the participants. No, I can't hear. Dr. Koh, we can't hear you.
His mic is mute.
You got
Can you
yes.
hear me?
Okay.
I only have one book for you guys lah. I mean, for us also lah. You know, if you're going to turn back time, procrastinating lah. Okay.
Procrastinating.
That's the big word. You think what's a big word? Because you can turn back time, you stop procrastinating. I think so. You like. I would like to also quote again. Engineer Dr. Haja Fadila, which got graduate on time with the Chancellor's Award lah. He was very persistent on doing that. So if you, I did in 5 years. Probably same 7 years, 6 years, whatever. You are not graduating on time. The most common problem we have is procrastinating. What else? Okay, tunggu besok buat. Tunggu besok buat. Tunggu next week buat. Tunggu next month buat. So you tunggu. It'll be 1.5 years gone. Okay. As project managers, you look at the triangulation of project management between cost, quality, and time. You do that between the triangulation of the project management. I think so. You have to graduate on time lah. Quality means you do an A, B, or C within your budget. So you have my brain 15. Minister of Higher Education spent 50,000 to you for your PhD industry with 50,000, 3.5 years. Make sure you finish it at 3.5 years. So what I must do, what I think I must do in the first place is to read a lot, as Prof. Sha'ri said. When you submit your proposal, you better download all your articles, get it ready before you even write. For us to read these academic journals, you know, you're not in the academia. You do read 3 or 4 times to understand what he's saying. I mean, true. You read for the first time, you don't understand. Second time, you get a little bit of gist what he's saying. The third time, the fourth time, and probably you understand. And get all all your literature ready. Probably you try to, if questionnaires, there is some pilot study ready before you do anything. Pilot study for experiments. Better you get hold of the place that you need to do an experiment. If you have a place in your industry, in your workplace, no problem. Get data ready, and then try to write up. Even though you don't have data, you can write up the first chapter, chapter 2, literature review. You don't have to do experiments. You just do your read up, start writing. Start writing. The most important is you start writing. You go to meeting, you bring a book, you jot down a piece of one piece of or your idea. Second one, you just jot down. Maybe you continue from that, and then try to put your computer or laptop on. Because my problem is once I put my laptop into the bag, I find it very hard to get it out and open it and write.
Okay, same here. Yeah.
That's the thing. Once you keep it close, then you don't have the what do you call it, motivation to write. So bring a notebook. I'm old timer. Sometimes you bring a notebook, you go to the site, you have idea what you want, jot it down, get the idea. Because once you don't jot it down, you lose whatever is in your memory. Because there are a lot of things to figure out, to manage. You have to manage your project. I manage my wife. You have to manage your husband. You have to manage the children's education. You have to manage your car installment, things like that, all the chores, right? So my advice: start writing, start reading. Okay, start writing, start reading. When I do it again, probably I have the GOT, but because procrastinating, I lose 1.5 years. Okay?
Indeed.
Then the budget overrun budget, the time overrun, the quality also not very good.
Yeah, this procrastination thingy, right? I'm sure the rest of participants, I myself, what I face is that I'm doing stuff to actually keep me busy, tapi actually avoiding what actually really needs to be done. You know, so you've been kept busy to do other things. Then there's real parts of the things you're not doing it.
So when I say is it, you have Facebook account or Insta, your Insta story can wait. Your posting can wait. But once you post it, you take time. Every time you put 15 minutes there, 15 minutes here, that's half an hour. So why not I put this half an hour to read up a journal article and try to understand it.
That's the rational thinking, right? But then when you have this lure of social media, you would rather look into your Instagram and Facebook rather than actually at your research. Dr. Liza, what will be the one thing that you will do differently?
Thank you. I agree with Dr. Koh. As advice as a lady to the ladies candidate out there, we have to strategize because we have kids, we have to cook, we have to do a lot of things, we have to go to the office, so we have to strategize, find your best time to do your me time to do your writing, or you have to really rajin and fix the time so that you have special time for your PhD writing or to do research. Okay, so I did that at the end of the journey. I should have started it early, as Prof. Sha'ri said. And I guess the one I did maybe it's not good because it's at 12 o'clock midnight. And
really burning the midnight oil, eh?
But I think maybe the other mothers out there, or the ladies out there can find your own sweet time. But you have to really use that time. So I did that for the few last semesters, and it's worth the effort. And I think the ladies have to find the time. I know some of my other PhD friends are pregnant, or even during the Viva they are heavily pregnant. So there are a lot of sacrifices has to be taken by the ladies. You have to spend time with family and others. Even I have to take care of my parents and others. So really find the time that you think best for you to deliver, because or else we ladies, we don't even have enough time for ourselves. So you really, Kartina, you are ending your PhD writing soon, or PhD journey. I think you have to find that exclusive time just for you. So
Indeed. Otherwise, we'll burn ourselves, isn't it? And that will not be good, isn't it? So you have to take care of yourself first before you take care of others, isn't it? I think that's your point, right?
Yeah. So that exclusive time, I think the ladies out there, you have to find it and adapt to it. And I think when you have done it every day, like I sleep only 3 hours a day, I think your body can understand you and support you.
So we got to find our own rhythm lah, yeah, and our how do we fit it at the same time juggling multiple things. Dr. Sri?
Okay. Before I answer that question regarding that busy supervisor, all that, I think in my case, my supervisor is in Johor. I'm in Terengganu. Okay, it's very hard. Maybe in the semester, I only able to meet him once or twice, and I have to drive all the way to Johor, or either he comes here. And there's a case that I will get his schedule. If he's coming to KL, I'll drive to KL. And there's a day that when I already reached KL, I asked him, but he said that he do the pit stop in Melaka and he might not come to KL. So I drove to Melaka to meet him. Okay. And even after the Viva, my external examiner was from USM. and he want me to come and see him to get some inputs how to rewrite my thesis, do the corrections. So I drove until Nibun Tebal to meet him. And then in my internal examiner, Prof Zaki in Johor, I went back again to my external examiner. So it is like how much you make sure yourself is busy and try to get their schedule.
What you want it, okay.
Yes.
Okay, good point.
Right. And then the one that you are asking regarding if can go back times, there's I think 2 years back, Prof Sri and Dr. Asuti have a chat and they give us a lot of advice. One of it is be consistent, committed, and disciplined. They said like if you let go your write-up more than 3 days, then you drag it up maybe a week, a month, and then again you will
In order to get back into that rhythm, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I believe that what they say is very true, that within 3 days, maybe, but the third day, you should open and try to write up something or try to read up something. Okay? And basically, after complete my 7 years journey in PhD, I can tell that if you count back the time that I really spent, not even 3 years.
Not even 3 years, eh?
Yeah, if you count back how long you really spend, it's not more than 3 years.
As in terms of the effective time spent on actually doing the research itself, what you're saying, out of that 7 years, the proper time was actually maybe about 3 years. That's what you're saying, right?
Yes. So that's why I think all the university are telling that GOT is 3 years, right? So basically, if we really put our time, I think every one of us can complete in 3 years. And I believe if I'm given, I have to go back. I think if with all the advice I get from like Prof Sri, Dr. Asuti, all that, really, if we concentrate, I can complete in 3 years.
Okay, okay. So that time management is very critical when it's doing this PhD. Prof Sha'ri, any insight from your side?
What would I do differently?
Yes. During when you did your PhD in the University of Birmingham in England.
I had a very good supervisor.
That's very key.
Who reads everything. In fact, I was in Birmingham last year. I met her. She's already 73 years old. I submitted 3 years, exactly. 3 years. So I did my, PhD. Only I have to wait 2 months for my viva.
Okay.
So I told the other day in the seminar, if you wait 2 months in Malaysia, no problem. Same also in Birmingham, okay? 2 months. So I don't know, because I think I probably would want to probably change my methodology, or not change. Probably because after going through 20 years, I've learned a lot more things about methodology than I, use my methodology, my PhD. There's that was a student methodology lah. So I think that would probably something that I would change in my PhD. Other than that, in terms of time management, yeah, you need to really manage time. Really manage time. And also, when I wanted to do my PhD, I asked one of my friend who is actually an Algerian guy, and I asked him, give me one piece of advice. I just want to know just one thing. He told me this. He told me that the word is patience.
Patience.
Patience. If you can be patient of 3 years, just looking at one small thing, 3 years, you'll get your PhD. If you're not patient, because some people, they're not patient. They look at this and they say, no, I'm not going to spend my time. No, this is too detailed. This is, So if you're not patient enough to actually scrutinize, research papers, doing good literature review, you need to be patient. Okay. You need to be patient to understand methodology. You need to, take the time. So patient, basically, if you're not patient, And sometimes, you know, you want to get one particular, you know, seminal paper, which is, you know, somewhere you couldn't get it. So you must be patient enough to actually find the way and, you know, to get that seminal paper that is going to support your study. So patience is another, rather on top of procrastination. I agree. I totally agree. So do not procrastinate. Little bit by every bit. Okay. Then only you will achieve your journey. Have set goals every semester. You must have one set goal, one set output. This every semester, I'm going to finish my chapter 1. Tell yourself and work towards that.
Okay.
No one else can motivate by yourself alone, Kartina, Dr. Kartina. Tidak ada orang,
InsyaAllah.
tidak ada orang boleh motivate kita kecuali diri kita sendiri.
Exactly. It has to start from us first, right? Our own attitude.
So our own attitude, you know, for example, if you can spend time 50 minutes, 1 hour in Facebook. I spend 1 hour a day in Facebook actually. But I will actually allocate other times, you know, for example, today it's okay, I can allocate time, and I'm now allocating time to produce video, Dr. Sophia. I'm trying to...
dah pandai dah, terror dah.
Tak pandai, tapi tengah belajar. So I'm trying to transfer my knowledge into video so that, you know, many people can benefit through. So you have to find time.
Okay.
Itu saya dah umur dekat 60 ni, kata kena check masa. Tak check masa,
you have to make time. Betul.
Semayang, tak zikir, tak baca Quran, tak apa. Lepas tu tunggu dah mati dah. Tak boleh.
Time just go by, right? Yeah. Okay.
Time. One time.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, panelists.
Okay.
I have one. I think I have one question from the chat module. Something about one of the students is asking that he's in engineering and he has to read a lot of formula from other papers, and some formula he doesn't understand, even reading multiple times. How can he solve that? What tips can he choose in terms of choosing the right formula related to his title PhD and improve it as a novelty? Not too sure how do I answer that. Any one of you? The engineering field?
Madam Kartina, I think so. The answer is somebody who answered in the forum.
Oh, okay. Is that? Yeah. All right.
I think so. That's the correct answer. Like you read the one once you read the one in the
fundamentals of formula.
You have to find the fundamentals. How are you going to find the fundamentals? Every formula, actually nobody created a new formula. EMC squared is still EMC squared. Okay, we derive from there. You look at where you get the fundamentals from textbook. Actually, it's from textbook. You go back to the fundamentals.
Okay.
That writer did not create that formula. Okay. If he created a new formula, probably you create something to solve COVID-19, the new vaccine, you get a Nobel Prize for medicine.
There's a novelty.
Whatever is written in that journal is derived from so many equations. You work back, you find in your reference section which articles he referring to. That particular author would refer to somebody else's text, and you look at the other text, you find that he got it from a very fundamental equation. Did I answer that? You okay?
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully
it's from the fundamental. Every equation, however advanced, is actually from the fundamentals.
Go back to the fundamentals lah.
Right.
Okay, my last question, right? I mean, the four of you, the three of you, Dr. Koh, Dr. Liza, Dr. Shri, right? You have gone through this journey with UTM. On hindsight, right? What do you think that? What would be the kind of additional institutional support do you think that UTM can provide to PhD students, especially the industry PhD students, that since we have to juggle our work plus also trying to complete this PhD ni?
Okay.
I mean,
before I go off, I think so. What SPS is doing also is a fine thing. As I attended a talk by Prof. Sha'ri, organized by Prof. Sri, Prof. Suti, and now and so is Associate Professor Siti lah. Okay, Siti Sophia also is organizing all this. The networking is important. Once the MCO is over, probably you have another gathering of all the industrial PhD. Okay, more talk on how to publish paper, how to write up your literature review, your methodology, would help a lot lah. What SPS is actually networking.
Okay.
Probably we don't see each other. Industrial PhD student, we are already working alone. Probably you gather us around. There will be a lot of ideas being shared. You know how to do, and then what they have been done. SPS have done actually. I benefited a lot, and what my supervisors have provided me also benefited a lot. So in terms, if after the MCO or if you have this kind of forum online, then it would be very beneficial to get them graduated. Even it's not on COT, but at least you graduated. You have cost, budget, time overrun. You have graduated. This one. You're giving some ideas. Okay. Another thing is my last words before I move on is once you are those who are going for YWA, okay, once you are accepted to YWA, you already graduated. Okay, don't worry, you won't fail. Nobody is going to fail you. SPS is not going to fail you. Your supervisors are not going to fail you. Doing a PhD is a challenge to you yourself. You are challenging yourself. You're not challenging your children. You're not challenging the supervisor. You're not challenging the system. The system wants you to pass your PhD. Malaysia, so my Brain 15, when it was first initiated, he wanted 60,000 PhD graduates from Malaysia. Why we need so many? Because we want to become a developed country. Becoming a developed country, people must be educated. That's the reason. It's not that I want to do a PhD because I want people to call me a doctor. That's not it for me. It's not that. Okay. I don't mind. You call me Koh. You call me whatever. You just call me. Apart from that, I think so. Once those who are going to attend the YWA or those who maybe 1 year time going to attend the YWA, don't be afraid. Okay. Once you are invited to go for YWA, that means you already passed. YWA is just a process of peer reviewing. You are being reviewed by your peers. Those are the examiners in the room are all your peers. Okay.
Okay.
So don't be very afraid. Have a very good breakfast. It may last half a day, or it may last 1 day. It may last only one question, like Prof. Sha'ri is only one question. Probably you cater until probably you take a very good breakfast, relax, and have a pre-YWA with whoever you have. Okay, then you have a good preparation. Definitely, those who submitted all their 5 chapters and are allowed to go for YWA will pass their YWA. Whether we have a A1, B1, B2, C1, C2, you will pass. Don't worry. Okay? Don't worry.
Okay. Dr. Sri?
Okay. I think like not everyone have the industry supervisor who have a doctorate. Right? Maybe in Proton or like Koh say they have a doctorate. But in my case, he was my senior. So I have to get him to be my industry supervisor. So I believe if nowadays there's few people already been graduate doctorate in the, multiple disciplines. So for industry supervisor, if you can link with these people, maybe it'll be more easier for the other students rather than just getting their seniors to become their supervisor. This is based on my experience.
Okay. Okay, good point. Dr. Liza? We can hear you, Dr. Liza.
As Dr. Koh said, networking, I do agree. I do also assist some of other PhD candidates through WhatsApp. I shared even my format to them. So it's good to have good new friends. You have to seek for those people to get fast track of things. So you have to do some tricks to get it faster. So that is very important. And the most important before the Viva, what my supervisor did, she sent me to see lots of lecturers. Other lecturers who are not in my corrosion field, so they will comment in their perspective. So they do not understand what I'm presenting, so they will comment. So from there, you ready to answer any question from those who are already understand your topic, not understand your topic. So in Viva, you can have this wide spectrum of anticipation of questions, so you can easily answer during the viva. And that is a method that Dr. Astuti have given me. I went to see, I think, about 3 or 4 lecturers prior
Sure.
to those lecturers I never met. They also never met me. So it's a good whether people understand your presentation or not. They understand your slide or not. So I think that the best weapon that Dr. Astuti has prepared me. And Alhamdulillah, my viva was quite smooth. I met Sha'ri before entering the room. And soon after a few hours, I met Prof. Sha'ri again. And Alhamdulillah, the result is very, very happy. So I think the practice of you meeting other lecturers, ask them, do they understand your topic? Can they understand the way you present, the way you speak? And just your slide, is it readable, graphic enough? And that is the tip that I guess all of people going for Viva practice, and they can adopt it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Liza. Thank you, Dr. Koh, Dr. Sri, Prof. Sha'ri. I think we've come close to about 1.5 hours in conducting this forum. I'd like to put an end to it. But before that, is there any other questions which the participants would like to ask before I do a little bit of closure, and then I'll pass on to SPS?
Actually, there is one question from Siti Nurhana
Uh-huh.
on the chat box.
What to do if we get a PhD offer at an advanced age, yeah, while short-term service? Anyone would like to answer that? I think the participant is asking about getting this PhD, to do this PhD offer at an advanced age, maksudnya dah berumur lah kot, while having this short-term service. But I'm not too sure what do you mean by the short-term service here.
Kartina.
Yes, Prof.
I had a student who was actually 60 years old. Graduated student, the oldest was 62 years old.
Okay, wow, very passionate.
PhD is not only for the young people. Advanced countries, you have PhD being done by people who are 70 years old, grandmother.
Yeah.
So I think probably short-term service means she's already in the service, nak retire lagi 3 hari, 3 tahun. It's okay, do the PhD. Once you retire, you continue pay by yourself. Malaysian university very cheap. So I think, even at an advanced age, you still can contribute whatever knowledge that you. I see Siti Nurhana already, and maybe you can whatever you want to achieve in life. No, do something with purpose. Do something with purpose. If you do something with purpose, that after getting my PhD, okay, probably I want to join academic world to become, lecturer dekat universiti swasta mana ke, kan? That is noble, that is something that probably will push you further, or become a consultant like Puan Kartina. I would support, doing PhD even at, if that is what she tanya, advanced age means, you're already nearing your end of service, retirement and so on. Right?
Yeah.
Is it answering the question, or am I not? Okay, thank you.
I think it's a.
Kartina?
Sorry?
If I may add
sure.
Answer?
Sure.
My opinion, it's more about self-achievement, or you reward yourself. As for my case, I did not get any reward from the company or whatever, and I did not expect that. But it's actually more to your self-achievement, satisfaction and reward. And at the end of the day, you will not say, oh, rugi dulu tak belajar, dulu rugi tak buat PhD.
In retrospective, yeah.
Now, I think maybe this is the best time that your rezeki has come. It's better to do daripada at the end of the day, oh, dulu ada dapat buat peluang, tak buat. So I think more to self-achievement.
Sense of achievement, eh?
Yes, for yourself. It may be inspiration to your kids, cucu or anything in future. So I think it's best that you take the offer.
I totally agree with that, Dr. Liza. In fact, a few times I've thought of quitting this because at a stage of my life whereby I already attained certain position with certain salary or whatnot, and I was asking myself, why am I doing this PhD? What do I want to achieve? But then since you already accepted the offer, plus I've got my children, and I want to show them that if their mother at this age is able to complete their PhD, so what about them, right? They have to go through this undergraduate program and master's program. So it's to set this exemplary behavior to the rest of your family members lah. And you don't want to be thinking later on and say that why did I give up? If I had continued doing it, I would have been would have been completed by then. You know, so you don't want to have regrets. So I think age is just a number. At the end of the day, it goes back in terms of your interest, your passion, your attitude, and what is it you want to achieve at the end of the day. And obviously, doing a PhD is as I always see it, is the highest level of academic qualification. So I think
can I, Kartina, can I add something?
that's okay.
You look at the Maslow hierarchy of needs, and yeah, at this age you're doing your PhD. I'm also old guy lah, 48. I finish at 53, 5 years. You actually you're reaching the highest peak of the Maslow hierarchy of self-actualization. Am I right?
Agree. Yes.
You are challenging yourself. You already have a first degree. You sudah masuk menara gading lah. Menara gading ada puncak dia. So PhD ada puncak di menara gading. So bisa sampai tahap puncak menara gading. So as I say, money lost. You kahwin 4 pun mungkin cerai kot. Knowledge you have, you bring it to the kubur lah. So when you gain the knowledge, what do? You share your knowledge. As Prof Sha'ri say, you become maybe bucket list. It's one list in the bucket list lah. For those young guys who don't know what is bucket list are things that you need to do before you kick the bucket.
Kick the bucket, yes.
It's one list in the bucket list, and probably you would like to become a lecturer. You would like to share the knowledge. It's not that you know a lot, but you need to share. You would like to share your knowledge with somebody. Then you do a PhD. It's a very self-actualization thing. You know, you do it. I've reached the highest peak of not the what color the ivory tower. Okay, that's the inspiration that everybody have lah. You know, people ask, you're a contractor, man. You're all qualified with a master's. Why are you doing this? I don't know. I need to do this because I need it. I'm self-actual. I have everything. The only thing I don't have is a PhD. I'm not buying a PhD with a degree mill. You see somebody, being conferred an honorary entrepreneur PhD, and they call themselves a doctor. I met a lot of people with that, 30,000 or what. You are honored, honorary, but don't do that, please.
Yep.
Do an actual one, as Prof Sha'ri said. You are about to retire. You have money is not a problem. The fees are damn cheap. Okay, our universities are all top ranked. The QS ranking just came out. I'm very proud because in the School of Engineering, especially School of Chemical and Energy Engineering, they are ranked almost the top 100 in the whole world. And engineering technology, UTM is ranked apart from UC Malaya, is the second highest rank.
Yes.
So quality-wise, no problem. Why do you need to spend money to do in Sarawak, or you do it in Nottingham? You can do it in Nottingham, Malaysia. I mean, you can do it Sarawak, in Putrajaya. You spend a lot of money. You can do it. Yeah, industrial PhD. You do have my brain 15, no problem. But I think that beyond my brain 15, the fees are still quite affordable, shall I say? Okay.
All right. So indeed, as a key takeaway, indeed, doing this PhD is extremely challenging work, right? While we do it for the, I would say, as an intellectual simulation, sometimes I myself, I'm not too sure about you all. Why do we put ourselves through such difficulty? This kind of question I've gone through in my mind so many times, right? So, but then as I thought about it, and I was getting some inspiration from some other people who have successfully gone through this. If you need a reminder in terms of why I've chosen to do this, I saw a quote from this person, Tadashi Yanai, who's the founder of Uniqlo, which I found useful. And he said, what did he say? I've never really satisfied with anything because the world is ever changing. If you keep climbing up, then you see another higher mountain. You climb up that peak, and you see another. I'll pass away eventually because that is life. But I'm climbing mountains because I enjoy the process of climbing a mountain. So that's what he said, the quote which I saw from his book. So as you can see, he's always looking to challenge himself, pushing the boundaries and getting out of the comfort zone. So from what I've heard from the esteemed panelists, the three key things, right? We as PhD students should always remember making time for activities outside PhD is also vital for long-term success. You need to have a healthy, find your rhythm, what do you call this, a healthy family life, have regular exercise, social activities that is stimulating, fun, and which is likely to make happier. So everyone has our own journey. The PhD journey can be a roller coaster ride with acceleration, but as they say in life, it's always the end that matters, right? It's about getting that doctorate title, like what Dr. Koh said lah. Hopefully this PhD journey is going to be filled with knowledge building, network forming, and life-changing moments. So with that, I'd like to thank our organizer, SPS, esteemed panelists, and last but not least, to all our participants in joining today's Webex forum. I hope you all have obtained certain key takeaways from this session. Well, for myself, I'm quite invigorated and more motivated to try and complete my own PhD soon. So I wish all of you the best in your future endeavors and that you achieve all the most success after your PhD. So I'd like to hand this over back to Dr. Sophie.
Okay, everyone, don't leave yet. Actually, we have our pengerusi, our chair of School of Graduate Studies, Dr. Hazarina. Dr. Hazarina is here. Doctor? Yeah. So I would like to invite Dr. Hazarina, our chair of School of Graduate Studies, to give some sepatah dua kata. Yeah.
Sepatah dua kata. Okay, Assalamualaikum. Greetings from Johor Bahru.
Waalaikumsalam, Doctor.
Okay, nice to see you. I was in the session for I think since 10:30, and I listened to Dr. Koh, Dr. Sri, Dr. Liza, and Prof. Sha'ri's very inspiring sharing session. Okay, I did ask SPSKL to organize this because I think we need to keep in touch with our PhD industry students during this MCO time. Okay, and I think based on today's discussion, there are a lot of tips that been shared by your fellow friends. And if you notice that at the end of the day, we can conclude that the tips are very much similar. All right, you can say that it's our own discipline, all right? PhD is about self-discipline. We need to be able to manage our time, to set our target, right? And I like Dr. Koh's points just now about being humble. At the end of the day, PhD will teach us one thing, that is to be able to be very humble, right? When you are in a Viva session, it teaches you one lesson, that you need to accept other people's different opinions from us. To be calmly, all right, to be very calmly accepting that people are looking at different point of view, right? So it teaches us to be very humble. And this is what I noticed from my friends who have graduated from PhD and those without PhD. Very obviously that when you have a PhD, it taught you one thing, right? Ability to accept different view, right? And to accept with humble. And you will be able to counter if it's a different opinion with facts, like Dr. Sha'ri says just now. And one thing I think at the end of the day, to all my PhD students and PhD industry graduates from UTM, at the end of the day, we do hope that when you go back to serve the industry, one of the things is that PhD industry students hopefully will be able to contribute to the nation. I think Prof. Sha'ri knows that in the early days, one of the idea to establish PhD industry is for us to become countries like Germany, right? To have experts that can give back to the industry. So hopefully, if it's not today, all right, one time we'll have UTM will be able to produce PhD industry graduates who will be able to contribute to the nation's development, just like the other developed country. All right. Okay, so I think that's very short lah, sepatah dua kata from me. Okay, thank you everyone for attending this session. Back to Dr. Siti.
Okay, thank you, PM Dr. Zarina. Before we end our session, could anyone who haven't turned on the camera, turn on the camera? I'm gonna do a screenshot. Thank you, more, please. Just like Dato' Zaina is also here. Assalamualaikum, Dato'.
Probably he's muted.
Yeah, he is. Right. Right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's do another one. All right. Right. Thank you so much. If you have any ideas or any comments, you can just reach out to SPS in order to, to improve the PhD ecosystem in UTM. Okay, and
just one thing that remind you, many students couldn't get into your site today. I don't know why.
Is that Dato'?
Many students difficult to get into the group to join the Webex today.
Okay.
One of the engineering doctor earlier couldn't make it.
Actually, we try for the next session using FB Live or YouTube Live soon, so it's more reachable to the people.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sophie, for inviting me to moderate this session. Thank you, Prof. Sha'ri. It was a pleasure having this opportunity to chat with you, plus also all my other esteemed panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you. Keep in touch.
Yeah. So I end this meeting, okay?